Welcome to the Log Time Podcast. New decade? Sorta new us. This time we're going over all the shows we watched for the start of the 2020 winter season. We got a lot to get through, tons of good choices, and a few flops. So I will shoosh, and let's just get this on its way.
Or am I wrong? Is this surprisingly bad? Have I been in a fever dream? Is the season actually not good? You guys got to tell me if I have shit taste. Like, come on.
I think we should, it's going to be a big momentous occasion whenever the season is just bad.
Yeah, I think I might cry.
Wow, this winter season is surprisingly bad.
Wow.
That'll really be a first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like genuinely speaking, I'm definitely impressed with the caliber of stuff that is coming out this season. I really I always watch a lot in the winter season, but I never figured I would have like 16 shows that I am currently watching at the beginning of the season, and at week 3 or 4, not really thinking about dropping any of them. It's astonishing to me.
This is because I usually don't watch a lot, and this is probably the most I've watched out of any season before.
Yeah, Matt,
just because there was a lot of stuff that spoke to me. I was just like, "Ooh, that seems good. Ooh, I like that."
Mm-hmm.
And I have a little extra time, so
now that always helps.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything I picked up, I was like, "Wow, this is I actually enjoyed watching it." And then I got to a point and I was like, okay, well, I've got enough shows, so I'm just going to not pick up anymore. I'm done.
I think that's probably a safe bet. It's better than when you tried to watch everything every season.
Yeah.
Madman.
Yeah. Well, this time that wasn't in the stars, and I was honestly just satisfied with what I got. And guess what? I feel better.
Good.
Good way to go.
Surprise.
In terms of thinking about the stars and how it didn't quite align for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the stars did align for Asteroid and Love, my dudes.
I like the connection there between Stars Align and Asteroid and Love. I like that.
I could see it a literal solar system away, but yeah.
You know what? Fuck you.
No,
How dare you? I'm trying to segue here, and you're just dumping on me.
No,
I genuinely enjoyed it though. You connected both the seasons there.
Thank you.
But Asteroid and Love, yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute. So that's a Dokukobo show, and I didn't hate it.
I know. I was astonished by that. Because, Morgan and I were watching the first episode, and I was just like, wow, this looks so pretty, and I actually give a shit about the characters, and I started looking up, and I was like, wait, this is Dokukobo? What the fuck? And she looked at me, I was like, what does that even mean?
Well, okay, guys, let's be honest. There's only 2 good Dokukobo shows.
Wow, brutal.
What are they, bud?
Well, one's Love Lab, and
yes,
Love Lab is fantastic.
I'm going to argue that the other one is Good Job Boo, but everyone will probably disagree with me. So
I mean, I've heard good stuff about it. I haven't seen it, but I would like to. It's in my backlog, which is natch.
It is comfy.
I think the coolest thing
Gekkan Shoujo. I guess that's a Dokukobo. I lied. There's 3.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay, absolutely. The rest of them I don't care about, so that's fine.
Damn!
I just, Asteroid and Love doesn't look like a Dokukobo show. It's so pretty and, fluid, and it just, it feels different than any other Dokukobo show I've ever watched.
Might be because it's not garbage.
I'm talking about visually speaking, but you're not wrong. I don't know, man. The characters look so much livelier, and the whole world has a totally different pallor to it. It's just so fucking pretty to look at, and that's great about it's a great quality for a show that's about geology and astronomy to be about. Like, holy shit, dudes.
Yeah, they're really trying to hit hard on that like Eurocamp vibe, where just everything's really pretty.
Well, I mean, I think it helps when it's about nature as well.
Yes.
Like if you're involving space, since the show is revolved around this geology club merging with this astronomy club to be the Earth Sciences Club. There's a lot of opportunities to showcase off the ground and the sky in this case. There's a lot of scenery.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny because like the whole merging of these two clubs that usually have nothing to do with each other just seems exactly like my entire experience going through college in the science department, just being like, we don't know where to put you guys, so we're just going to stick you with everyone else. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what programming has to do with forensics or natural sciences, but sure.
They're giving the girls in Asteroid and Love a good head start with everything. They'll be fully prepared for the tumultuous adult life they'll have later on.
Yeah. They just start putting up like the red strings for blood splatters and stuff. They're like, okay,
the show is getting a lot darker.
Yeah, I think the show is pretty bright considering all the stars and shit they look at.
Yeah.
But that was really bad.
Yeah.
You guys just need to remove me from the podcast. I think I'll step down.
It's okay. I'll make up for it later.
We're looking for a new member of the Backloggers if anybody's interested.
But I think the nice thing about this is, while a good bit of it is just I really enjoy visually like taking the show in. It's nice to actually have a main cast that I actually give a shit about.
Yeah.
And that are actually like fun to watch, are entertaining, and seem to be more than just like one note tropes, more or less.
Yeah, it's like so wondrously positive that like the progression between episode 1 and 2 of our two main characters is just like, we didn't see each other for years, and it's like, well, let's just be BFFs, and then it's just like no struggle about it. They're just like, yeah, let's get to know each other. This is cool.
Yeah, it's relieving to have a good big cast in a show like this and not be thinking, but what kind of weird drama are they going to throw in somewhere?
Right, yeah. Like, the only drama that we get is, like, episode 2. One of them is just incredibly anxious as an individual. And so they're like, when do I text? And how often?
Yeah. And I wouldn't even call that, like, drama. I would call that, like, this is Hitori Bochi inspired.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, it's fun.
It's fun. It's a nice one.
Yeah, it's definitely more comfy. I appreciate that. And it's not like it's not annoyingly comfy. What that means is that it's not comfy to the point where I go, wow, this is boring. It's actually interesting. Maybe interestingly comfy is a better word to put it.
Yeah, no, I can dig that. And it's not like saccharine, like sugary sweet kind of comfy either. Like it keeps a nice sort of grounded balance. Like, I mean, even though our main girl, Mira is like, this super Genki girl and all that jazz, it never gets like overbearing. And I don't know, it's nice. It's interesting comfy. I'll go with that term. Yeah, I like that.
And I think what really helps is that even if she is very Genki, like the other characters kind of balance it out pretty well. So
yeah, it's all about some good balance up in this show.
Yeah, which is good. So,
unfortunately, I don't really feel like I have much more to say about this other than like it's pretty and it's fun and it's an interesting, club gimmick for this, and like that's it. I think.
Yeah. I would say it's pretty accurate. I don't think there's probably anime out there, but I don't recall a recent one that's done two clubs merging like that.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
And that hasn't had like a battle aspect to it or something,
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You're right about that.
Clubs collide.
Oy.
That sounds like an anime, actually.
It does.
I'd pitch it.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
Yeah. That's really all I have on Asteroid. What other comfy shows you guys been up to?
how are we defining comfy at this point? Because I guess Somali is comfy in its own way.
So
I
fucking
would
comfy.
100% say that Somali falls into the comfy category.
Oh my gosh.
The comfy category.
It's like Usagi dropped the anime, but in a fantasy realm with some slight stakes to it, I think.
Yeah, and I like that the stakes that they've set, but that they're not doing anything too dark with that.
Mm-hmm. When I initially kind of saw like a preview for this, I didn't really have any context for it. So watching cute like father-daughter antics between a forest golem and a human child takes on a whole new perspective when you find out that it's a world where humans were douches and then were persecuted to the point of near extinction. So he has to keep the fact that she is a human secret. And that makes me more than a little anxious at certain points in time.
It also makes me anxious because we don't know how often we're like checking in on them, and to know that there's a time limit to the whole ordeal, I'm just like, oh, this poor child. This is gonna be heart-wrenching. Yeah,
like I enjoyed the whole like, oh, they're going on a cute little like whimsical journey to like find her like real parents or something like that. But when it does kick in that, oh hey, Golem Dad is most definitely going to die in a little over a year, so that sucks. This shit's gonna hurt at some point. So I don't know, it does some very interesting things with the whole kind of like father-daughter dynamics that shows like I don't know, Bakuman or sorry, not Bakuman, Barakamon.
Yeah.
And again, like Usagi Drop and some other shit like that too.
No, I think it does a really great job of like having its own unique flair on the father-daughter thing, but then at the same time, the world that they're exploring is like hella fun to see.
Yeah.
It's also very pretty. It's another very pretty show.
Yeah.
It's another very fun, very pretty, very cute show.
And it sounds like it's going to turn into hell later. But,
I know. I'm so nervous because every now and then, like one of these dudes is just like, I smell human, and I'm like, my poor child, please no.
Like, I kind of get, I feel as though this show is giving off enough vibes for me to sense that like we're not really going to get any like real major danger. Yeah. But leave it to me to think that and then have my expectations completely dashed, and I'm just going to be destroyed when it happens.
Season 2, where the child fucking dies. Like, it'd be really dark, and I hope that they don't actually go there.
Yeah, it's a big pass on that one, Captain.
I don't think this is made in Abyss, though, so I think we're okay.
Oh, sweet fuck. Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
At least with Made in Abyss, they kind of, like... It wasn't immediately apparent, but then it became pretty apparent quickly that it's like, this is going to be really dark.
Yeah, I guess that's a mystery to solve later. Hopefully it won't be a mystery to solve later.
Yeah, big fingers crossed. Because, like, I'm just really enjoying the time that I get each week to sort of explore this world just a little bit more. Because while a lot of the joy that I derive from it is definitely, it's very pretty, and I think that Somali and, Golem Dad have some really good rapport, and it's really cute. I am just genuinely deeply interested in, like, the lore and the world that they're building with this. And so, like, I think that's probably the biggest draw of it for me. So, I don't know. I'm just excited to see where it goes.
It's also so on brand for the humans to be douchebags. Like, it's so on brand. They don't even try to hide it. They're like, oh no, we killed those dudes ages ago. Like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's a really interesting twist in this sort of like a fantasy realm sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's generally like some, either like larger ruling faction of humans or something like that. So it's just interesting to see it. kind of flipped a little bit.
Yeah, I like a show that's comfortable letting the humans be the like minority species.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really like Somali.
I don't have anything to add. I only watched the first episode, so
Nothing to do with what I initially thought it was about, but that's fine.
Yeah. I guess the only other show that I've watched so far that I would really consider like comfy would be Room Camp, or Heya Camp, depending on how you want to call it.
The laid back camp,
the Euro Camp short.
Yeah,
I really don't like have anything to say about this. Like, I am sure as shit watching it every single week.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, it's a Euro Camp short, and I don't really know what else to say about it. If you like Euro Camp, if you like comfy camping shit, like, do it, dude. Like, this is gonna be 100% your shit.
It's a little bit more obvious in its delivery of, we're just trying to like show you all these cool places to vacation, but than the original series. But I'm fine with it. It's still totally fine. It's very comfy, and it's the same characters and same overall feel to the show. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm to schedule my trip to Japan, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like, we'll just mark that one down.
Yeah. And this week has a new destination in TripAdvisor. Yeehaw.
It's just a TripAdvisor using anime. They got us again.
Damn it.
Foiled. I haven't recovered from the last time when they used Madoka Magica to get me to go to Japan.
What?
I was literally scrambling to think of literally anything.
Oh my god! I was about to say, I don't know. I don't think Madoka is the
crazy shaft city.
No.
Up north.
Yeah,
up north.
I wanna
in the central region.
I wanna travel to the part of Japan that's like a total hellscape and there's clowns and shit. Like, give it to me. Can y'all tell me about the new Madoka season? Because I really wanted to check it out.
It takes place in a city.
Uh-huh.
I like cities.
Good start. Great. Love the world building here.
Takes place in a city Goku would be proud of.
Okay.
Kamihama.
Kamihama. You fucking nerd.
I see what you did.
Matt, continue before he gets to make more bad jokes, please.
The interesting thing about this one is that where it's based on a video game and they're definitely doing their own spin on things, so far it really doesn't have a lot to do with the original series.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a twist to it. I'm absolutely sure.
I haven't played the mobile game enough to know, so I'm sure there is, though.
I mean,
I haven't
in all of the
at
advertising for it, they're using a lot of the original members of the cast, and so I assume at some point we get this twist where we find out, oh no, it's like just an alternate universe. But yeah, currently we're mostly just focused on our main crew here. Our pink-haired replacement for Madoka, who ends up being the new girl to the city, and then the other magical girls. And they've all already been on the job. They're not necessarily new to the whole shtick.
Okay.
And so far, it seems like it's the same rules as the original series, not the rewrite that Madoka God-kun did, or the other rewrite where what's her name?
Hamiru?
Yeah, Himiru, Seton-kun
Oh my
took
god.
over.
I guess my question is...
So, what's the question here? Sorry.
Yeah, like, my question is... So, like, I mean, I enjoyed Madoka well enough, like, and I saw that it has a sequel season and whatever, and I mean, like, I'm interested, I guess, but I'm kind of like you, Matt. I watched a shit ton already, and I'm pretty satisfied with what I got. What is so interesting about this one in comparison to, like, the original that actually, like, makes this worth watching? So, like, is this a must-watch?
Well... I guess if you're comparing it, it depends on the reason you watch the original series. So,
or just in general, I guess, like what makes this worth watching?
Like, I would say that one of the big highlights of the spin-off, because it's technically a spin-off, right? I think it's labeled as one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, apparently, I've only played the mobile game a little bit, but apparently the story is, so far the story's been pretty much spot on from what I played. And apparently the way the mobile game goes with the story is apparently, like, really interesting, but it's not in any way tonally the same as the original series, besides that it's the same universe.
I've noticed that. It definitely seems to be a little bit more positive than the really dark tone that they had in the first series.
I mean,
so it's a lot less like Head Chomp Grimdark.
Yeah, which I think is good in a lot of ways. That it allows them to do something different with it. I think the way this show is successful is that it detaches itself enough away from the main show, enough that you can kind of think of it as its own entity. So you can focus on different aspects of it. Obviously, that tone is harder to break when they are, depending on what they do with the story later, and the fact that they, as you said earlier, use the advertising materials to kind of like tie it back into the original. But I mean, that's all logistical stuff.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I think one of the good things that I think Magia Record has for it being like a standout show right now is that I think the animation is on par with like what was in the Rebellion movie, and I think that's what's captivating a lot of people.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, they're doing a good job with the animation.
So there's a lot of like, I mean, there's a whole like at least 2 or 3 minute segment where they do a bunch of transformation scenes in episode 3,
and it's gorgeous.
It's very good. It's on par with the Rebellion movie, which is I still say Rebellion is one of the best animated Shaft works I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best animated.
Well, yeah. I guess like for me that definitely does make it something that I would want to check out and be more willing to check out, because I think part of my reservation in getting into it was just that while the subversion of the whole magical girl idea was pretty cool and novel, like, you know, whenever the original Madoka came out, I feel like kind of retreading that can only do so much at this point in time, and I was a little worried. So hearing that it is that much of a diversion tonally and subject matter from the original definitely makes this more appealing to me.
I think what really helps me is the completely different cast allows for a lot of different dynamics that were not in the original one, because none of these characters are copy and paste cutouts of the original cast, and so that helps out a lot. And they already have like pre-established various different connections and things, so we get to learn into that. But also they're doing the same thing that they did in the first one, in which you can definitely tell that there is an underlying mystery that goes much deeper, but it's a very unique mystery to this one. There's a thing where there's like a little cube A that's behaving differently than the other cube A's, and no one knows why. And then there's also like, for some reason, the city that they're currently residing in, all of the witches are infinitely more powerful than any other city. And so there's like a mystery of why is that happening and that kind of thing. And so like, because they decided to do their own unique story for this spin-off, it is attracting me a lot more.
I think a big advantage to this show as well is that it seems like in the original Madoka, they set up a world and we got to explore it a little bit, but there wasn't like a whole lot of building around it. I think this show has more world building.
Yeah, in the first one, it was a lot more character dynamics that drove it. Whereas this one is because we have these new characters, we're forced in another situation where like we got to learn the world a little bit through their eyes.
Oh, look at Madoka Magic all grown up.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, thank you all for that. I think I just may check this out this season then.
Yeah.
Dig it.
Something you should also check out is the new season of Railgun, which is
hell yeah.
Yeah. I want to watch it. I really do. But I literally went into this and thought, oh shit, well I haven't watched Accelerator and I haven't watched like the most recent season of Index, so I'm probably missing some stuff I need for this. Well, apparently that's not the case.
Did you read any of the Railgun manga?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Because Val and I did.
Let me give you some context. The last time I watched anything Railgun related was in 2014. When we watched it in your fucking closet apartment.
6 years later.
It's been a bit for me.
Yeah, no, what's nice is that this basically just takes place immediately after Railgun S.
Yeah, man, if I had known that, I'd started on it already, but...
yeah.
And I really enjoy that it's the same characters, but the animation has definitely been updated. It looks a lot cleaner, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely cleaner, but I also feel like I watched the first episode of it and I was like, it's Railgun.
Yeah, it's
like
the
always,
same Railgun
like
that we know and love.
Been.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow. Yeah, I'm glad this is back because I feel like I'm reliving 2013 right now when S came out. And I'm like getting ready for every single episode that airs every week. And
yeah, it's like it's funny because like in the first episode they kind of have a who's who of the city. They're just like, just in case you forgot about this person, and it's just so funny to see them acting and behaving exactly how you expect them to. And I'm like, yes.
I want to see my spastic little teleporter.
There's also a couple new faces, and then a little bit more focus on some characters that we just never really got to explore. So a lot of fun
yeah.
so far.
I appreciate Gunha as a character immensely. He's definitely one of the best level 5 espers.
His whole shtick, Zack, is that he's just a dumbass who can punch things.
Oh, I love those boys. Those are peak boys for me.
Yeah. Like he tries to solve every issue by just showing off how fucking powerful he is and being like, I'm a superhero, and everyone's like, can you stop? Just chill.
Yeah, that's pretty much his character. Like, it's very good.
My gosh. Matt, the opening ceremony with him and Misaki, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where she's like, oh my fucking gosh, why am I next to this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, when you got 2 level 5 espers on the stage, one of them is very refined and elegant, and the other one's just like, I'm gonna punch everything that gets in my way. Stand back.
Super fucking buffoon.
They give him a script and he's like, no, I'm gonna punch it. He's so dumb. I love him.
It's beautiful. Like, and yeah, so this whole arc focuses around a lot of different, obviously there's like a big, underground like secret that's happening and stuff that we're gonna learn about. But we got all these new characters and some of these old characters that we didn't learn about. So that's just going to be a lot of fun just to kind of, explore.
Yeah, there's a huge push for Misaki in this first arc.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to be something real important, which terrifies me, excites Matt.
Yeah, it's great.
I can understand your mind control fear, my dude, but
I hate it.
You gotta let it go. She can't hurt you.
You don't know.
She can't get you with her fucking remote.
She's just gonna like turn towards the actual screen and just remote, and like it's gonna turn into like.
Is she gonna fucking like click on you and you'd become TBS?
No,
like become Everybody Loves Raymond again?
No, I was thinking it's just gonna turn into like that super shitty plot of like the Jim Carrey Riddler back in the 90s.
God.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But it's good to hear that like really anything that dives deeper into specifically the characters of the Raildex universe is as good a reason as any for me to jump back in.
Yeah.
So like that's got me pretty hyped.
Yeah.
Also-
And I'm also very hyped now that you all told me that I can just watch it.
Yeah. Don't worry about Index 3 or Accelerator. Just forget that. Just don't worry about
The
it.
only thing that threw me for a loop is just that, like, is that it starts out in, like, Shirai's in the hospital, and I'm like, the fuck happened to her last season? Oh gosh, it's been so long.
Yeah, that is connected to Index 2.
Yeah,
but, but you've seen Index 2, so it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
but yeah. Because she, like, gets stabbed in the legs, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
that's
doesn't
what it
get
was.
stabbed in Index?
Even the nuns get stabbed in their ears.
Oh my god. Okay. Let's not call back to that scene.
Yeah, all right. Let's have a strong pivot.
Content
So-
warning. Speaking of stabbing, let's talk about a show that
Where's he
doesn't
gonna
involve
go with
stabbing.
this? Okay.
How about keep your hands off Eizouken, as in don't actually stab Eizouken.
This is my private square, Eizouken.
Oh my god. What's happening?
Oh
Oh
gosh.
Jesus. Yeah, Eizouken is primo shit. This is
Eizouken is currently my fave of the season.
It is definitely up there for me, and I'm just so fucking happy to see you also doing something again, cause goddamn dude, he always churns out some pretty fucking sick shit.
Oh,
like-
Ursa?
absolutely every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cause oh my god, like I still remember watching Devilman Crybaby last year and just absolutely shitting a metric fuck ton watching it. It was incredible.
Yeah.
So getting this and getting a series from him that I'm not just like going to binge watch the entirety of in like one day is refreshing. It's also very nice to see it as a show that I'm not going to panic over all the characters about every episode.
Oh yeah.
It's very nice because oh my god, our fucking like Ed and Nettie like idiot dream team trio
Oh, I
of
love
morons.
them. Yeah.
They're
Just-
very good.
Midori Saika and Subame, like
You could honestly like replace all the sound effects with Ed and Eddie sound effects, and I'm pretty sure like it would just track. It would make perfect sense.
I really don't want to bring this like possible
I
reality
don't want to
into the
imagine
world.
that. Yeah.
I've unfortunately seen a video of that on Twitter, but that's neither here nor
Really?
there.
Oh.
Yeah, we're okay. Well, I'm not going down that track.
Also, I think I'm gonna call it best opening of the season.
Yeah, that's
not the best ED, because the best ED it's good, but there's some strong contenders this season for best ED.
Easy Breezy kicks ass.
Yeah.
Easy Breezy
It's good.
is so fucking good. Also, I looked up the official music video for it, just as fucking bonkers and weird. I loved it.
I believe that.
yeah. I agree. Easy breezy.
Mhm.
I'd say that's OP of the season. Like, there's no contest.
I remember
Not from what I've seen.
I was watching some reaction videos,
well-
and literally every single person could not stop bopping their head. They're just like, "Oh, okay, oh."
I think that's a fair assessment. I would say Toilet Bound Hanako-kun gives it a run for its money with its OP, but anyway, that's not what we're talking about right now.
Also, I
Goddamn,
know that
Eizouken's fun.
Saika is like obviously best girl for so many people, but I do love my tiny little gremlin child. She.
Oh yeah,
I'm having a heart to heart with her many a time.
Midori's so fucking good.
She's very good. I also
just-
like in the like them thinking up the dream world fantasy universe that they use. I like that all the sound effects are just Midori.
You're just like a.
Yeah.
Thank you for the 5 seconds of audio poison. Back to our regularly scheduled stuff. I think it's neat to see a show like it's neat to see an anime that is about anime and just animation in general.
Yeah.
That isn't just like Shirobako or some other like working folks show that is tangentially also about anime. Like there's just something
it's
magical about Eizouken in that you really see the kind of like joy and creative process that goes into this. But I also like it in that it's essentially just like, you know, one of them's like, I want to draw a cool schoolgirl, and one of them's like, I want to draw a fucking tank, and they're like, okay, cool, we'll draw a schoolgirl fighting a tank. That's it.
Girls
It
in
doesn't
pants.
have to.
And then the third one's just like, how can I get money
Mad.
out of this?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how you start an anime business right there.
Yeah. One of them says, I like drawing certain thing. The other one says, I like drawing the other things. And then the other one says, I like running businesses.
Yeah,
I like money.
It's a good balance altogether. I don't know, man. Like, Kanamori's got my vote. She's just conniving and scheming, but also so clearly cares for the other two in
That's
her
what
own
I
way
like,
that
yeah.
she is just so endearing. But absolute fucking tallest gremlin of the bunch.
Absolutely.
Hands down gremlin. Goblin King. I don't know at this point. But
Yeah, if Asakusa is the tiny little gremlin, she's the Goblin Queen.
yeah. Eizouken is one of those shows that, like, I love to watch it, and I don't really think much about the show, like, while I'm watching it, or, like, after I've watched it. It's just one of those things that's, like, it's so fun to just, like, take in visually because of all of just the wild, weird, layered shit they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You know, in terms of, like, the whole just, I'm thinking of this one thing, so let's actually show the weird fucking, like, mental creative process we go through in it, and just do all sorts of dumb shit with it.
It's also really cool to see, like, these crazy dream worlds that they think of, but then also their real world is fucking bonkers. And they even comment on it. They're like, who put an air conditioning right in front of the front door?
Yeah, that fucking high school, man. Like,
the fact that
that
the teacher's room, like the teacher's office, is in the swimming pool.
Yep.
That's like almost meta. Like, it's trying to get you to think about the animation while the characters are thinking about the animation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like almost meta. So,
I will say it is meta.
I guess
I'll push it forward a little bit.
Yeah, I guess to an extent, to go back to what you were talking about earlier, like, yeah, it's definitely different than all those working about anime things, because it's not about anime production, it's about the creative process, I guess, which is a lot different.
I was thinking about that, and I think, like, because Shirobako, it was about the production and the industry, and then you have something like
fuck.
Yeah, the one like fuck the anime, the animation. The one that we all like that's super meta and has a twist by episode 7.
You're talking about
Anigadories?
You're talking about Anigadories. I think Anigadories is a little different.
Well,
Yeah,
here's what I'm.
I was more thinking of, like, shows actually about creating anime.
Well, here's what I was gonna say. It was like Anime Galleries is very much a show about the tropes of anime, and Shirobako is about the industry and the production, whereas this is more about just the joy of the art itself. And I think that's really like a breath of fresh air to just be like, isn't this fucking cool? Like, this art is so cool.
Sure, yeah, and I think that's the best part about this to me, because just seeing all the weird shit they come up with and the bizarre, like, ways in which they envision solutions to simple problems is just absolutely delightful. Like, in the most recent episode where Midori and Mizusaki are trying to repair the roof of their clubhouse.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're envisioning it as in they're in deep space trying to repair their space station. Like, it's just it's such a neat little twist, and it's so creative, and I wouldn't have thought of that at all. And so it's nice to see what they come up with each time.
Also, shoutouts to Kanamori for breaking through a fucking wall because she heard her friends were in trouble.
Again, she's the best. She's absolutely fucking metal.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's just it's so unique and creative. Also, shoutouts to any anime that has, like, it's all about teenage girls, but they're not, like, typically like the typical way that you would normally draw teenage girls, where it's like cutesy or like super moe or anything like that. It's just a very unique style for the characters, and I like that.
Let's be honest though, like, I don't feel like USA has ever drawn a character like that.
I don't know if he knows how.
I don't think Yuasa has ever drawn a character the way that anyone would expect any character to ever be drawn.
That's
like,
also
let's be
true.
real here. No character in a Yuasa work ever looks like, you would never look at them and say, aha, that's a person.
I've got this anime. It's gonna be like your like shonen sports anime. Oh, okay. What sport? I was thinking ping pong. Okay, I can kind of see it. So how's the kid gonna look? He's gonna look like a tiny little gray demon. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's got such a unique style, and it's you all you have to do is watch and listen to this show, and it's a Yuasa work, because oh my fucking god, y'all, the music in this is so good. It is one of my favorite parts of it, because it's just so bizarre what they do with the music. Like, just the way it sounds unlike any other soundtrack I've ever listened to, because like I cannot describe like the sound of that one track that always plays when they're putting shit together.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, it sounds like someone is, I don't know,
like
choking a rubber chicken, and it's making like a weird like synth vibraphone sound.
Oh,
but at the same time, it's like really. It's like
okay,
really
so you actually know what I'm talking about when I say that? Then?
Yeah. It's like really uplifting and comforting, and you're just like, why? It's a fucking rubber duck.
I don't know, man. It's
so
fucking
good.
weird.
Yeah,
I think that's my statement for this whole show. It's really fucking weird. It's a joy to watch, and I'm stoked for it every week.
I also really want to learn how to dance like their silhouettes in the opening, because it's so good.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my pick of the season.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Zach, you were talking about the opening earlier. You said you opted for Hanako-kun's opening.
Oh my. So I'm not saying that like it's necessarily like quote unquote better, but wow, it fucking slaps really hard. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, just like in general, is one of my favorite shows of this season.
It is
surprising. I wasn't like, I wasn't really expecting it to be one of my favorites. It sounded like a quirky little fun like pseudo horror show to check out, and it is so much more than that. It is such a deeply interesting like entire package of a show. Like, the sound design down to the OP and the ED are fucking great. I mean, like, the OP is like, it gets your adrenaline pumping, which I don't think you really need for that to happen for this show, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, it's like, for the most part, I don't see where that fits until like you come across one of the other ghosts, and you're like, okay, I guess I can kind of see it.
Yeah, but like I really appreciate the core idea of it, in just that, this I think they're what, middle schoolers, or are they high schoolers?
I think they're
it's middle school, right? Yeah.
It's really hard to say, because they always say like something academy, and I'm like, that's something different where we live.
Well, no, never mind. I'm an idiot. They're high schoolers.
Okay.
Yes, but like the idea of this weird high school girl that loves the occult shit stumbling upon the ghost of a boy that's bound to a toilet, who's one of the 7 wonders of the school, and then gets cursed by a fucking mermaid because she wanted to impress some boy that she had a crush on, and then they just end up doing weird occult shit together, is really endearing. And like I think what is most important about this show is that I think the concept is cool, but let's be real, there's a lot of like horror leaning anime that have interesting concepts that are dog shit in execution.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at you, Mayoiga, or, whatever the fuck else.
Mayoiga's good, though.
It's the execution.
Mayoiga's a masterpiece. Okay.
It's the execution of the show that, like, really shines, I think.
It is the way in which the characters interact, but also the way the show, honestly, just fucking looks.
Yeah.
Like,
I
Toilet Bound
love the
Hanako-kun
designs for the characters and, like, the hard, like, big black outlines of, like, all the characters. Like, for some reason, I just really enjoy that look.
It's the weirdest. I keep thinking this one thing every time I fucking watch this, and I'm like, the artistic direction and the way they do certain things reminds me so fucking much of Scum's Wish for some reason.
Really?
Okay.
Well, okay, so specifically because they do a lot of those, they'll superimpose, like, a separate, like, cell or manga panel looking thing on top of the current scene.
Yeah.
And they do, like, scenes within scenes through that way.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, like the specific, like, character borders and boundaries and shit. I don't know. Again, like, it's not a good comparison to make, but it's the closest show that I can think of in terms of just what they do with the space in the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so it's that, the general direction, and the really interesting balance that the show strikes between, having this sometimes pretty serious, like some gnarly occult shit going on, but also having the characters either look kind of super deformed at some point, or having them just like be really goofy, or this, that, or the other. And somehow it strikes that balance without being just like, I don't know. It does it without what?
Oh, it just creates an interesting tone, I think is what you're trying to say.
Yes, yeah. It does it without being like overwhelming or without being like just too much.
Yeah, I think that's a big key of the show that I like, is that like it's not like super crazy, it's not super edgy, it's not, it's not. There's no extremes in this show. It's just
there we go.
It's laid back and then it's ramped up. That's it. And then it can switch back and forth really easily, and it just really gels. Like the whole thing just really gels together, I think, which.
Yes.
It just works. And I'm just like, nice. That's really good. Which wasn't something I was expecting from the show.
No, really not me either. Like, I was expecting this to be something I would give a try and be like, oh, that's quaint and kind of fun. And then just, like, probably drop off and watch something else.
That's exactly what I thought going in, too, yeah.
But, I mean, it just goes to show, for some shows, you really can't judge a book by its cover. Because, wow, hot damn, man. Like... I would say that anyone would be remiss if they're not going to give this at least one episode this season, because it is at least worth giving it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, looked up the director. Same director as Scum's Wish.
Oh, I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes. Good call.
Wow, I'm glad he picked that up. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Yep.
Mystery
I
Song.
knew it. I fucking knew it. Oh my god, I've never felt this, like, validated in my life. Oh my god, yes.
Well, we're talking about, like, dips into, like, the supernatural and occult.
Yes.
I think Inspector is a pretty good deviation from that. As, like, another really good one.
Before we start, I just wanted to say that the name is genius in of itself.
The name is pretty good.
I didn't realize it for like 2 episodes, and I was like, wait, what? Inspector? Like, why is that the name? And then I finally said it out loud, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm fucking stupid. And then I just felt stupid for like the entire couple minutes that I thought about that. So, anyway, continue. Sorry.
So, like... This is yet another show that I looked at and thought, I guess that might be neat. And then it proceeded to kick me into the dirt and make me ask for more. Because, wow, this show is fucking good.
It's very
I
good,
feel
yeah.
like I did not get a lot of good preview for the show. Like, I watched a couple PVs and they all looked so utterly uninteresting, and I don't know how they managed to do that, because this show is so fucking good. Everything about Inspector is a delight to watch. Like, I mean, from the base level, our main duo of, I guess, our boy that just can't die, and our, young intercessor between the spirit and the human world, who got her body, like, Full Metal Alchemisted. They are delightful separately and together. I find myself laughing my ass off as they just, like, banter back and forth.
I love their dynamic together.
God, it's so good, dude. Like,
I love it.
And Matt, as you said, with the fact that it is about an inspector, a spirit investigator, it's such an interesting concept. Like, I know that we get a lot of shows that are kind of like about the supernatural or spirits or things like that, with, stuff like Noragami, for instance, that is kind of working with these ideas, or with, like, occult civil servants. But I don't really think I've ever seen one that is this specific flavor of that, where it is so specifically just about, like, trying to be an intercessor between those realms.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, like, these supernatural beings, like, asking for help from these humans, being like, "Can you help us out with this?" Or in the case of the snake god, why humans be cray cray? It's like, oh, well, let me sit you down here for a second.
Yeah, but why'd they put this dead body in my lake?
I was very upset. No one's put a dead body in my lake before.
Yeah. I think in the same way, kind of like, Matt, the way that you described Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, Inspector also does a really good job of swinging back and forth between, like, very laid back, relaxed moments, or maybe not like laid back moments, but
more like quirky humor and interesting dynamics between the two characters.
Yeah, from really great character interactions to genuinely, like, really interesting, really thrilling moments of,
dark mysteries,
working with the supernatural. Yes. Yeah. I just, again, this is another one of these shows this season that I feel like I haven't watched anything like this before.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I can't think of a show that I've seen that has been like this. I think I like it. I think I
like it.
I mean, I think I like it. I mean, I know I like it, but I'm trying.
Yes.
I think I like it because it's kind of actually the exact opposite reason I think I like Hanako-kun. It's because of I like how, like, the characters. I think what Kyle said was pretty accurate. The characters have good interactions with each other, but then I also think that just, like, suddenly, like, they go like at least in the first episode they, like, did that full battle thing, like, just it was very brief, but it was very good, and I was just thinking, wow, like, that was a pretty good escalation of events there, and
yes, exactly.
It can just. I guess it is similar to Hanako-kun, but I don't know. It feels different, I guess. Like,
it's
no.
I'm not. They're two different tones for sure. Like,
yeah. I only meant to say that it was similar to Hanako-kun in that its levels of escalation work well.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
It can deviate between its more lighthearted moments and its darker moments really well, and it manages that effectively.
Yeah. And both the light moments and the darker moments are exceptionally good so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, they do them very well. This show clearly, at this point, has a good indication of what it wants to do with its characters and story, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think this is maybe one of the shows that I am the most excited for this season, because I look at this and I watch the first 2 episodes I've got to see, and I see so much potential for the really just cool shit they can do.
Yeah, it's like not only with the mysteries, but also like looking here on AniChart, I see like that the supporting cast starts to get fleshed out as the story continues, and I'm like, oh, that makes me so fucking excited, because like each time that we have characters interacting in this show, it's great. So I'm excited to see like who else gets added to this pod.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Also-
think that's gonna be a good one.
Also, nice rep of somebody with a disability. I like it.
Yeah.
She rocks that cane. Like, she looks so badass. She looks like... it's kind of like if you see, like, an ancient sorceress or, like, wizard coming down from their tower, and you're like, oh, dude, that dude's badass.
Yeah. She's a very short, horny sorceress.
She is short and horny, isn't she?
Surprisingly so. It really caught me off guard. And I was like, you know what? You go. You chase your blitz.
Yeah, but she knows what she wants. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah,
She's like, I want you, and we're gonna do this now. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited for Inspector. I am chomping at the bit for more of it.
Also, props that are Immortal Boy, his true power that all these supernatural beings fear is they're like, oh, dude, that dude tastes disgusting.
His boy tastes so bad, I'm just gonna die.
Yeah. They're like, oh, he's so fucking gross. Oh.
Yeah,
Very interesting. The world of apparitions is hard to understand, I suppose.
It is. I'm so interested to see what the fuck is actually up with him, because like they have done such a good job of dropping a few breadcrumbs. Like, my stuff just regrows after I, ate 2 yokai, and that's first episode. And we're just like, what?
We're like, no, wait a minute.
And then
why did you eat?
And then
yokai?
second episode, we get like, yeah, like I've been like this ever since I ate the mermaid, and she's like, what? She's like, what's the second one? And he's like, I'm not telling you nothing. And then like he wants to say why, for what purpose. So again, bottom line, Inspector has a lot of potential to be really fucking cool.
Yeah,
I'm stoked.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else supernatural going on? Those were really the big ones that I saw.
I guess if you want to think about supernatural, you could make the argument that Pet falls into supernatural.
It's more like psychological thriller, though.
More like, I don't know.
They use supernatural powers, though.
Okay, yeah, no, that's true.
Matt, more like what?
I was going to say psychological confusion, but that's fine.
Pet's got a lot going on.
I really, really enjoyed the one episode I've seen so far. I don't know if I want to continue for personal reasons.
Yes, this is not a good season for folks who are morbidly afraid of mind control powers.
This is mind control and all that creepy mess with your head shit. Yeah, I'm like, no, thank you.
I don't know, like Matt, how much of Pet have you watched?
I've only watched the first episode, but I can't say that I really enjoyed it. I was just kind of confused.
I enjoyed it.
I was kind of confused, but I confused. I guess I understood it, but I was kind of like, okay, 3 dots, ? Would be the way I felt about
Props,
it.
I think that's a perfectly acceptable way to go about Pet. Like, I don't know. I like it. I've watched about 3 episodes so far now. I'm caught up with it.
I think also, Matt, for you and I, like, the first episode is very obviously supposed to be a what the fuck am I watching? And then they're trying to be like, so you should watch episode 2. And we just haven't.
Yeah, so. I mean, yeah, it's not like I would be against it if someone was like, hey, let's watch Pet. And I'd be like, okay. Like, I'm not against it.
I'd just be like, okay, you're going to have to hold me. But yeah, we'll go into episode 2.
Well, I mean, I'm not really afraid of it or anything. I'm just like, okay, well, I just don't have a reason, I guess, to continue it at this point.
Yeah, I would like to at least see one more episode so I can understand a little bit better. Because so far, the only thing that I've gotten is just twist at the end of episode 1, no, John, you are the demons, and then John was a zombie. And so I'm just very confused. I understand who our main cast is now, but I'm also confused.
So here's the thing. Watching episode 2 of Pet will give you some additional context
I
for
literally
your
thought
confusion.
you were going to be like, watching episode 2 will not help you.
Well, I was going to say it will give you some context, but also it won't help you that much. Like it's kind of like you said, Matt. Like I get it, and I understand the concepts that they're working with, and I kind of loosely understand how they work, but at the same time, like it always feels like when I'm watching it, like I'm slowly like sinking out of my body as I watch it. Like it just feels so. It's so deeply bizarre and heady, and what I found out is that this is an adaptation of a series from like fucking 2003. So this is fairly old.
I didn't really get that
and
vibe.
It definitely
okay.
Huh?
I said I didn't really get that vibe, actually.
So like I mean I watch it and I get like boogie pop vibes.
I didn't watch
in
that.
the way that they're approaching some of the concepts. Okay, well, all right, well, whatever. I guess bottom line, Pet's interesting. I know it's certainly not for everyone, and if you were just kind of meh about the first episode, I'll be here to tell you the second episode and the third episode are not going to change your mind.
Okay.
So like,
I liked it. I just personally don't know if I'll continue it, but I think anybody that enjoys that type of like mind trippy shit, like this would probably be your jam. So far,
Matt, you were gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I think I'm in a little bit of a different vein here. I think I wouldn't be opposed to watching more of it. I just don't really have a reason to, and that's what's stopping me. I feel like this is like one of the super backlog shows that I'm like, I'll watch this when I have nothing else to watch from the season.
It also doesn't help that Amazon fucking gobbled it up, so no one's going to be able to see it.
Amazon jail. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
So many good shows on that platform.
That's I guess. Are there any like big shows that we haven't really like hit on yet? That y'all want to talk about?
Bokudan. I want to talk about Bokudan, please.
If my favorite pop idol made it to the Budokan?
Yeah, Budokan. Sorry. Did I
You're
dyslexia it again?
You said Bukodan?
Shit.
Bokudan.
It's all good.
I keep typing it like that too.
Yeah. I just like Budokan is easily one of my favorite shows this season. The idea of a show being like so it's an idol show, but it's not actually about the idols from the idol's perspective. It's about a fan of an idol and the relationship between fans and idols. And I think it is, within the genre of idol shows, such a fucking cool take on it and a really interesting, much needed perspective within this genre.
I see, it's like coming out of stuff like Perfect Blue, I get so nervous about like the dynamics of like someone falling in love with their idol.
Okay, but like Aripio is not gonna fucking swim fan Mina. She's fine. She's gonna be okay.
I also sorry, go ahead,
Matt.
I was just gonna say it's like because their relationship of the two episodes that I've seen, like they treat it well in this show so far. It's just the concept itself can get pretty like yikes, and so like I'm just nervous how they're going to be able to navigate that and how effectively they'll be able to navigate that going forward.
I kind of
say?
actually fully disagree with what Kyle just said.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's actually one of the big parts of this show is that the fact that we're getting it from this perspective is, I think, for one, there are parts where the fan, in this case, the fan acts a little crazy and are like, okay, chill out. But there's also parts of it that's like, I think if we're looking at this show in this way, I think this might help like break the stigma down even.
Yes.
Because like they're just, at the end of the day, some of them are a little crazed. Sometimes they get a little, they're fans, this is not like when you're a fan of something, you can get into it. You can get a little too into it. But I think at the same time, that I think the show is trying to showcase that's okay as long as you stay within the reasonable boundaries.
Yes,
which is what the show is doing.
Yes, I think that's the big thing that this show is showing. And also doing well is like showing like staying within the boundaries and making sure that this isn't an uncomfortable experience for anybody involved. Yeah.
They're just showing their passion, and I think this show is really, I think it's really capturing that really well. And I don't think there's going to be any risk of it going anywhere bad. I really don't.
It doesn't seem like it will. No.
I don't really think it's a problem.
I would agree, and I think that specifically it is a very like smart and I think responsible choice for them to portray like the two most prominent fans in the show, Eripio, you know, our main girl here, as well as Kumasa, you know, this dude that essentially looks like the quintessential otaku idol nerd.
Yeah.
As like, you know, these old guard of these, you know, idol fandoms. And, you know, Kumasa is one of the wisest, most interesting dudes like I've ever seen in this kind of situation, because again, he literally looks like he'd be the kind of dude like wearing a headband and like shaking glow sticks and being like, I want to take you home, idol Chuan. But like he's like in the most recent episode, they were kind of talking to this third guy that they have in their group, Motoi. And, you know, Motoi is like 100% in love with his idol, like, bias at this point. And Kumasa's just like, oh, dude, no, you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that.
Yeah, he's like, don't go down that path.
And it's not healthy. And so I think it's very interesting for a show to kind of, like you said, Matt, to sort of break down this stigma a little bit, to show at the end of the day, they're people. And even though there's some huge mega fans, just because they are really passionate about this thing or these people does not mean that they are going to go ballistic and overboard on it. They can still be reasonable, sensible people.
Absolutely.
And I think it's so important to have a show working with that idea like this, especially within anime.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you guys. I think to better state what I was feeling was the concept makes me nervous, but then whenever you actually sit down and watch the show and its execution of just being like, this is how you should be doing this, like healthy fan culture, that's what I like. I like that a lot.
Sure, yeah. It's less that the show itself has any issues for you.
Right,
it's more
right.
just that you heard the concept and like sirens went off in your head.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
dispelling your fears. Yeah, no, I
get that.
I feel you there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But I'm very happy to see that it has kind of taken the path it has, and I relish every week I get to watch a new episode.
Yeah,
like
I haven't seen Ep 3 yet, but I'm like ready.
Oh, it's so good! It's so good! Oh my god!
You can guarantee
so
I'll be watching it tonight. But
I watched it like 2 hours before we.
Man, see, I was gonna do that, but I was at work. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
So, oh man.
God, it's so good. I think it might be my favorite of this season. So far.
I think
it also has some good music too.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little biased, but I like the show a lot, and I don't know. I definitely think it's in my at least it's up there, probably my top. It's definitely my top 3. I want to put it as my top 1, but I still want to watch some of the episodes of the others before I make like a full decision.
Yeah, that's fair. It is my current like working favorite. That is subject to change, of course.
Absolutely.
But from what I've seen, yeah,
it is definitely working on going to the top.
I also really like this idea of this, like, even if you're the most like unknown of unknown idols, you still got that one motherfucker, and they're gonna be there for you the whole way. And it's like, oh, that's real sweet. I like that.
it's so endearing.
Yeah,
I had to specially make my glow sticks because they don't have fucking salmon color. That's really great.
Yeah, I think that really just captures like another thing I like about this show. It's just it's just very good.
It's incredibly wholesome. In a way that a lot of idol shows are like not wholesome. Like most idol shows are like very wholesome, but this is wholesome in a whole different way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Any other like
big ones
that I think we all watched? I don't know.
I mean, I don't think we all watched anything. I want to talk about Shield Girl because that's always fun.
Oh yeah, do it.
I would love to talk about Shield Girl. Also, what the fuck kind of MMO are they playing? This is dumb.
Well, I think it's a great MMO. It's like one that's newly released but has like no content. Like I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, it's newly released, no content, and literally you just like, if you're a weird ass and you're just like, I guess I'm just gonna start eating poisonous creatures, they'll be like, level up. You can now eat poisonous creatures.
What the actual?
Yeah, that. Okay, Kyle. Like in the first episode where she literally eats the final boss of the dungeon and then gains an ability.
She genocides an entire group of creatures just because she was like, well, I want to make sure I don't take poison damage.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you put your defense all the way to the top, I guess.
She's a newbie to this whole thing, and she was like, I really don't want to get hurt. Oh, gosh. And, like, her friend was supposed to be on with her to, like, walk her through it, but then she has to study for tests and shit, so it's just this newbie that's just, like, tripping their way through the game and suddenly ends up a badass.
Can I just, like, ask what fucking MMO makes a function to just, like, eat boss? Like, what is that?
Well,
it's literally whatever you do. Yeah, it's whatever you do, you can then, that becomes a skill that you can then, like, level up as you go forward. So, like...
that's wild.
Yeah, so, like, for instance, in, like, I think it was the second episode, or it might have been the third episode, that her friend finally joins her on it, and then, she learns a swimming skill, and then she just gets really fucking good at swimming. Like, it's crazy.
MMOs have come a long way since RuneScape 2.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. There's just a bunch of parts about the show that I'm just like, this is just wholesome. Like at one point she just lays on the ground and takes a nap, and there's just a bunch of monsters on top of her, and the guy passing by is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it's really funny because, like, that's how she gets a lot of her defense, is that she fell asleep with the headset on, and so all these monsters are constantly attacking her character, so it's like, defense, level up, defense, level up, defense, level up.
Oh dear God. What the fuck?
It's so funny.
Yeah, and then it's just really good. It's just two girls hanging out on a game, and they're both stupidly powerful.
They just end up stupidly powerful, and it's really cool too, because I don't know how often they do it during an episode. It's like 2 times maybe, but they have like the like global chat. And you can actually see all these people going, the fuck is that girl doing? What is going on? How does that work? Like, one of my favorites was they did a battle royale, legit. And, and like, the global chat, there was just a whole bunch of people going, did you see that girl's shield? It eats people. And everyone's like, I'm a little scared.
Yeah, that happens. It was. She was so. No, I don't think, Kyle, you haven't seen episode 3, have you?
I think I have.
Okay. Well, at the beginning of episode 3, they're like, okay, we gotta nerf some skills. Somebody's too powerful. And then they were talking about, like, for 5 minutes, like, the patch notes of the game. And they're like, they nerfed your skill. You can only use it 10 times a day now. And she was so sad.
It's kind of like that one meme video of, like, the dude checking the patch notes in Sims 3, and it's like fucking bonkers. Like, you can no longer date the Grim Reaper, and it's like, why was that an option? Who put that in?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Sims devs had a part in this game. But yeah, it's just, it is so ridiculous and over the top, and the characters are so wholesome and good.
Yeah.
That it's just a good experience in general.
I also like, even though she's this like amazing badass, literally anytime that her friend's like, all right, let's go this way, and they start walking, she has 0 speed. So she's like, wait, hold on, I'll get there. Her friend literally like Samwise Gamgee Frodo her, where she's like, I guess I'll just carry you there because otherwise we're not gonna make it tonight.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
It's so good. It's just good.
It's very wholesome, and it's just intentionally bonkers, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I'm even more excited to watch this than I already was. It's one show that like I'm really sad I didn't get around to watching yet, but this has only like invigorated my desire to watch this thing.
Yeah. It's
real good.
It's just good. And and it's well animated too. Like there's some actually like legitimately like really good like choreographed fight scenes, and I'm just like,
they had a
wow.
whole fight scene like underwater with a giant fish, and I was honestly impressed. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a Sakuga show. But yeah, very good. Love it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Didn't expect it to be that good.
No, I expected it to be my comfy show of the season, but I didn't expect to also be like just genuinely entertained by it.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Zach?
Can we talk about Darwin's game real quick?
Yeah,
please.
You gotta call it D game, but yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so wrong.
You broke the rules already. All right, continue.
I can't play it anymore. Take my phone away, Mom.
That's an interesting plot point, to say the least. But yeah.
So like Darwin's game, I saw a preview for it and I read the synopsis for it, and a story that essentially like boils down to, it's a mobile game battle royale, but like if you die in the game, you die in real life. And I was just like, this sounds unnecessarily edgy and kind of silly. And while that assessment is not wrong, Darwin's game, D game, sorry, god damn it, D game, pretty good actually.
Yeah.
What was it you said? I think you said a couple days ago, like you're really happy to have this new clone of Mirai Nikki, so you don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess if you think about it, it's probably Mirai Nikki, but better. Question mark, maybe, but it's better in different ways, I guess.
So like, I think that this kind of takes the phone-based death game concept and refines it to a very cool, very worthwhile degree. Because, like, the sheer fact that, again, a mobage, a fucking mobile game, turns into this life or death, like, manhunt kind of game is such an interesting take on the whole, like, battle royale show format. And that you can, you know, take in-game points and, like, trade it in for, like, real-world cash or items, or, like, these two fucking nerds at the beginning of the show, like, played D-game until they got enough money to, like, buy themselves motorcycles. And so I think the ways in which the ramifications of the game go outside of the game are very cool. I am super invested and interested in, like, the game and space that Darwin's game has created.
Yeah, because it kind of breaks the boundary between, like, you know, you can play the game and you can cash in, but you can also die. And there's penalties for that. And, I mean, penalties for dying, obviously, but also penalties for just trying to use your resources just to not play the game and such. So, yeah,
like,
there's an interesting space it operates in, I would agree.
Yeah, it's cool. It's pretty well animated for the most part. I think the fight sequences and such are really fun to watch. And overall, like, I'm not gonna say it's like my favorite of the season or anything like that, but it is a lot less edgy and a lot more competent than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's surprisingly like a pretty competent. Yeah, just like you said, it's very competent at what it's doing. I didn't expect the. So I didn't know the first episode was like a double length, and then I was I just got to about like I was watching it for a while, and then I was like, man, this episode's like lasting forever. What's going on? And I didn't think about it was lasting forever, but I was like, I've been watching this for a while, I guess.
Yeah.
I wasn't like getting bored. I was just like, this is a long first episode.
Yeah, it's like, am I in a hyperloop? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, and then I was like, is this a double length? And then I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, it is. And I'm like, well, I'm glad they made a double length because it's actually really good. So, or at least I was enjoying it. So,
yeah, I think it really benefited from the double length because it was able to dish out, I think, a lot of very important, relevant information and character like importance all in one episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it worked better that way instead of if it were split up into like two separate ones.
Yeah,
for 2 different weeks. It really needs all that info to get going.
Yeah, I like how they spaced out the info, by the way. Like, it didn't feel like info dumpy. It just felt like, oh, you're getting a little bit here, and then, like, some shit happens, and then you get a little bit more, because the guy's like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't even know how to play this game.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because, like, sorry.
I'll just go ahead. Sorry.
All I was going to say was, like, you know, kind of the dispersal of info. Like, you know, you have the whole sequence where our protagonist is being hunted down by baseball panda mascot, and this whole time he had like this special ability, but he had no idea that A, he had it, or B, those things even existed. And so the fact that he fought his way through it and ended up winning the fucking fight because Panda Man went invisible and some dudes just rammed him with their car in a parking garage because they didn't see him was just so it was so choice. I cackled. It was great. It's just it's super satisfying to watch, and like you say, while there's a lot of information that you got to get about the game, about like sigils and you can protect yourself with points, but only for X thing. It's like, you can keep it from being in the random battle rotation, but if anyone sees you in real life, it's got to be like Pokemon, and you can't stop that. And this, that, and the other. It's working in such a way that, you know, you're not getting everything all at once, and I think those slow developments over time really help to actually like personally build my interest in the world that it's creating.
Yeah, it kind of, I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot of characters that operate through this death game, but also, it definitely really does intrigue your interest because there's still a lot of stuff we don't really know, and it kind of allows them to not info dump it. It allows them to space it out, I guess. So it does leave room for intrigue. So
yep.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Also,
but
a little bit more personal bias here, but the fact that the main girl has like a chain weapon, that's super cool.
It's a really neat weapon, man. Oh my god. Just like basically heat-seeking like chain knives.
Yeah, that's so good.
Dude, that's so cool.
That's sick. I love that.
Yeah, it was one that I initially passed on, and I feel bad now because I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's very cool. There's no mind control. I think it should be a good fit for you. Well, there's no mind control yet. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't really know, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, Darwin is pretty good.
Instead of taking the piss out of me,
if you're even remotely interested in like battle royale or death game shows, like this is easily the best one that's come out in a long time. Give it a shot.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I'm trying to think. As far as the big hits that I wanted to talk about, I think those were all of my big hits.
Okay.
What about It Invaded, Zach?
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I
It
didn't
Invaded.
catch that one.
So I caught this when they had the 2-episode preview out a couple weeks before the season started, and that immediately made it a front runner for me. It's one of those shows that is so kind of like Pet. It has a lot going on conceptually, and a lot of it sounds like y'all have pulled a lot of this shit completely out of your ass and aren't really going to explain too much of it. Like the whole idea that it's essentially like a crime unit that looks to track down serial killers by using their cognition particles to construct id wells in which to shoot people in as a program called The Great Detective to figure out what happens is a lot.
Yeah, you lost me there after a little bit.
It is a lot to suspend your disbelief to really like get, but it's such a cool concept and execution that the absurd amount of like jargon and minor rules and shit kind of doesn't really matter, in my view anyway.
No, it doesn't really at all. Like, I think the less you think about the jargon, the more you'll enjoy it.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just kind of like their way of world building it. Like, oh, okay, well, this is like, if you really want to know, because you know someone's going to ask out there. So, like, if you really want to know, here's all this, but it doesn't matter. Just watch the show. Yeah. It's about some guy basically trying to figure out, like, like, how to track down these serial killers and maybe even, like, why they're doing it. Like, yeah. Like, it's kind of like a whole, like, mental, I mean, it's id and, you know, id invaded or whatever. That's the whole point. Like, you're going into their mind, trying to figure out why they're doing it, and trying to
figure out how these serial killers, like, what makes these serial killers tick. Yeah. And then using that knowledge and information to actually track them down and bring them to justice in some way. It's so fucking cool. It's such a neat, like, twist on the kind of future cop genre of show. I'm so fucking into it, dude.
It sounds very like cyberpunk kind of inspired, where you're just kind of like looking into somebody's mentality and using that through various like digital world kind of things.
Yeah, I think you could definitely make that comparison.
Yeah, because I was thinking of like there was a cyberpunk game that I bought recently called Observer, where it's something kind of similar, where you're a detective that's going into various people's minds and trying to figure out like what's up, what's going on, and like who they are. So
yeah, it's along those lines. And I think just the way in which each idwell is so very different and distinct from each one, and how each is like this wild puzzle to try to figure out, is super fucking neat to watch. Like, I still think the first one, where the whole world is just fractured and he uses his like big long ass like digi arms to like shoot and pull the world back together, is one of the coolest fucking sequences of animation I've ever seen. It's so neat.
Damn.
Yeah. I think it really defined what the anime was. It set a tone for the anime, for sure.
Yeah, it did. And the anime, like, I'm up to date on it. It has done a great job of keeping that momentum going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched episode 3.
Check it out then.
Yeah, I watched episode 3 and I was like, you know what? This is what the whole show is. This is great.
Yep. It sure as shit is.
Nice. All right.
I love it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I definitely am very interested to watch more. It's pretty good.
Yep. In terms of weird future cop shit, I'm going to talk very briefly about Babylon, because that resumed a couple weeks ago, and my boys, it's so bad, which is hilarious, because if you all remember the last time that we were talking about like upcoming shows a season or so ago, I was singing Babylon's praises pretty heavily and pretty consistently. But wow, dudes, it has become a dumpster fire from probably about the midpoint of the show on. maybe a little beforehand. I am astonished to think about how we went from a very interesting, like, political thriller about, just general, like, government corruption, with a mysterious string of suicides and deaths and all this shit, and then a bizarre, like, horrifying twist on adding this malicious form of a right to die law into circulation. I think it could have been very cool to have a show talk about these very heady concepts, but instead we got, if we say maybe the last episode, to recap, we're in the United States. We're primarily following the President of the United States, Alexander Wood, who is a blonde-haired, blue-eyes, glasses boy who literally met his wife playing EverQuest online, and is gamer president. He still plays EverQuest in, like, the Oval Office, and he's just the biggest fucking nerd. There's literally no reason why he should be the president. I don't fucking understand. And all sense of, like, logic and intrigue and, like, genuinely interesting discussion about stuff like, like suicide or political corruption has completely gone out the window, because, again, let me set the stage for you. The most recent episode, the penultimate episode of the series, involved the members of the G7 summit. So, like, the leaders of the European Union, Italy, the US, Japan, a couple others, all met to talk about, okay, well, these suicide laws are kind of going worldwide now. What do we think about it? And the President of the United States ends up saying, why don't we just talk about the nature of good and evil instead? We'll talk about something completely different, and then we'll figure out the suicide law stuff. And everyone kind of just ends up unanimously agreeing. And I'm like, first of all, what? No, you are the leaders of the free world. You're not going to toss aside a whole fucking summit on a specific idea to just be like, well, what is good and evil? What'd that mean? And then the next, like, 10 minutes of that episode are, like, just the most, like, trippy, psychedelic, like, folks are floating in deep space and talking about, like, shit that I think is supposed to sound smart but isn't. Literally at one point, the leader of the European Union says, everyone, have you heard of the trolley problem?
Oh my god.
My fucking gosh.
And, like, I'm not gonna go too much more into this.
Yeah, I think we get the idea.
Yeah. You don't need to know more than that.
It's one of those shows
about it as part of a post. So, like, if you want more, you'll find it in that. It's one of those shows. Man.
Oh, it's one of those shows where that I think we talked about this in the last podcast, where we talked about shows that get too heady for themselves. Like, basically, they become so, like, you described it as a problem with Psycho-Pass 2, I think, with being too much
it
like philosophical,
smart.
Like, what is the God complex, I think was your example.
And
I think Babylon is an example of that, from what you're describing, which is sad because it didn't start like that, but these things happen.
I like to think of it as the Castlevania trope, because it's like, what is a man? It's like, fucking God, really?
Shut up. Stop. Just quit. Just fucking quit. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna go any further. It's really dog shit. I have no idea what they're gonna do with this last episode, but that's okay, I guess. I've made my peace with it. But Babylon shit. Don't watch it.
Speaking of Babylon, let's talk about... I want to talk about 22 divided by 7 real quick. The only reason I related it to Babylon is because we're going to talk about the wall for a second. I guess that was a tower, not a wall, but whatever. It's working right now.
It was the Tower of Babel, but...
Whatever.
Babylon has...
Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm kidding.
But... No, so 22 divided by 7 is basically, it's about a bunch of startup idols, but there's a wall that gives them orders in their new company.
Yeah, you sent a couple screenshots of this to us in the Discord through a link from Twitter, and I thought that it was a joke, and it wasn't.
Mm-mm.
And I'm so scared of the show, Matt.
But what about the wall? You do not question the wall. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
It's definitely its own brand of... I won't say it's bad, but it's definitely my Oiga levels of question mark. Which my Oiga's good, by the way. My Oiga's not bad. So this show, I guess you could say is...
saying that, it doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, you're right, but it's good in that same way, which is... I kind of like what the show does. It has like a theme of like trying to get these girls to like strive to better themselves in this way, which is probably why they were chosen. But I don't like... I guess what confuses me is that why are we doing it not through the idol group, but why do we have to have the wall do it? That's the part that confuses me.
It's like, cool, I'm down. Where does the wall come in?
Yeah,
why does the wall come in?
And I remember asking you specifically, like, does the wall have any bearing on like the world outside of this or any other idols? And you were like, no, it's literally just this one idol group. Nothing else has anything to do with the wall.
It actually is kind of suspicious when you think about it. This company told all these girls to meet up at a zoo, and they're like, come into my secret base. And they were just like, okay. And then he's like, welcome to your...
No, you don't say okay to that.
Well, yeah, that for one. But then also, he's just like, this is your new workplace. And then he like shows them all normal offices. And they meet with like their advertisers, their trainers, all this shit. Like normal idol stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's Idol Master. And then he's like, let me take you to downstairs. And then they're like, this is the wall. You do not question the wall. You has to obey all the wall's orders. And I'm like, okay, this anime just completely changed tone. What's going on? Question mark.
It's like, oh, it's an idol group. And then you're like, oh, it's a cult.
Yeah. So.
It's a group that loves an idol.
It's a cult that just really wanted to branch out into promotional advertising using idols.
Yeah, I'm kind of just confused why the wall's there. Yeah, but besides that, like it's not great, but it's not bad. I like what it's going for with the whole like typical like startup group idol thing where they're like trying to learn more about themselves by using this job, which is probably factoring into why they've been chosen, but we don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's interesting to say the least. Yeah.
I also noticed just like looking at the PV that I see that it's an A1 Pictures show, but man, I'm getting some Chu2 vibes, like KyoAni Chu2 vibes from the art style.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Don't know why that's the case. But the art's not bad, but
no, it's not bad.
It's just the show's confusing. So that's all I have to say on that. There's not much to add.
Speaking of not much to add,
mm-hmm.
I watched Smile Down the Runway.
Yeah.
It's a interesting novel concept about a girl striving to be a fashion model at Paris Fashion Week for her dad's modeling company. She cannot follow her dream because she's a couple centimeters too short, and that's not the standard for models at that specific venue, which is an interesting complication for a heroine to have in this kind of thing. And we also have a poor boy who wants to be a fashion designer who makes a dress for our main girl, Chizuru, and she just kind of wears it out in public, and then someone sees a picture of it and is like, holy shit, that's rad. And they happen to be an influencer on Instagram, and they share the photo, and then like it just fucking blows up. And so it kind of ends up being like, okay, hey, well, hi, I'm Chizuru's dad. I run this company. Will you design dresses for me? And Chizuru, yeah, come on, you can model for us. That's fine. A lot happens in the span of the first episode. Like, it is a episode with some incredible pacing problems, and I also kind of don't really find myself caring that much about the characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's kind of a shame because it is a really interesting concept, but like, I don't know. I'll give it another episode or so, but I was not enthralled by that first episode.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I don't have any clue. I wanted to get to it. I'm interested.
That's a shame because I like the idea of an anime taking place in some place atypical like Paris, and I also
I mean, like, it is still in Japan. Like, Paris is the goal.
Okay.
So,
but also like fashion and runways. That's not something you typically see in anime, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
it is. Yeah, in concept, cool, but execution is very lacking.
Still interested in the concept. May check it out at some point just for that. Mm-hmm. Just to see what it's all about, at least.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, I guess, like, quick ones, the Scientists Love anime. I forgot the full title because it's really long.
Yeah, Science fell in love, so I tried to prove it.
Yeah.
It's like Kaguya-sama if the couple was a bunch of science nerds and they were a lot more overt about how, like, super mad crushing they are on each other.
Yeah. I just like it. It's definitely in the same vein of, wow, I'm watching two idiots here. They're so smart, but they're so dumb. I love it.
Yep. It very much scratches, like, the Nozaki-kun or Kaguya-sama itch for me.
Yeah, same.
Specifically the Kaguya-sama itch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only wave I really need to ride right now.
Yeah.
So it does it for me.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. If we're doing short ones, I can guarantee I'm the only one in this room that has, in this call, that has watched Interspecies Reviewers.
Yeah, you're correct on that.
Yeah, I was looking through Funimation's shows from this season, and I saw Interspecies Reviewers as one of the shows, and I was like, what is that? And it is, in short, about two dumbasses named Stunk, the human, and Zell, who's a short elf, and tangentially a angel boy they pick up named Krim. Stunk and Zell's mission in life is to bang every kind of monster girl in existence and then give them a full review on a 1 to 10 scale, and then they just kind of post it in this bar that they frequent. It's basically like Yelp, but for monster girl red light districts.
Fucking hell.
It's a hilariously horny show, but honestly, it is much more funny than it is horny, and I'm kind of astonished by how much I liked it, because I was watching it out of morbid curiosity.
Yeah, you just blew my mind. What?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I watched it, and like I kind of looked at Morgan, and she looked at me, and we were like, "Are we just gonna watch this season?" And we were just kind of like, "Yeah, this is really fucking stupid. This is dumb as shit. I'm here for it."
Nice. That's
so. It's a weird, unexpected pick for this season, but if you want to try something different and you don't mind some monster-sized titties on your TV, give it a go. At least give the first episode a shot. I
can't say that I'm wholly interested in anything you just mentioned, but I might just give it one episode just to try to understand what you just dribbled out. So
Yeah. If you want to try some, if you want to wank it to Monster Girls, it's there for you. And if you want to try some really just bizarre comedy that you never thought was like maybe in your wheelhouse, this is also a great opportunity to try it.
Well, there. I guess I fall in that second category.
Okay. Hey, since we're doing shorter ones, and speaking of Monster Girls, I got started on Seton Academy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one where you sent us an image of some girl with cat ears licking some guy?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Okay, I'm not interested. But go on.
Ears.
I watched it actually. Watched episode 1 at least. So.
Seton Academy joined the pack. It's fine. I enjoy the characters, most of them. It's weird how the show is set up to where it's like the boys are actual legitimate animals, and then the girls are just like the monster girl style, like Kimomimi kind of thing, where it's like they just got like the ears and a tail and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed because it would be cool if like the boys also got some cool treatment like that. But it also is nice for some of the characters. Like, for instance, no one can take the principal very seriously because he's just a tiny fucking like mole. But if they act up, the vice principal, I believe he is just a fucking T-Rex. And so he's like, "You shut the fuck up," and everyone's like, "Yes, sir." It's another one of those shows where it's like, it's intentionally being horny, but I kind of wish it wasn't, because I feel like it would be a better show because of it. It's more distracting than it is like enthralling in any way.
The plight of any number of shows.
Yeah. I will say it is odd that the concept is our main character is racist, and he's just kind of forced to learn to cohabitate with animals. That's basically the plot. But okay. Like they at least within the world, it is interesting because he accidentally gets wrapped up in this situation in which like he starts becoming friends with and coexisting with these animals in a lot of situations that like just in this society apparently they don't usually. They all go to the same school, but they just stick to their cliques. So like the deer are with the deer, the lions are with the lions, and they don't really intersect. So it's neat to see like by accident our racist dude is just like suddenly forcing a progressive change in the school. But yeah, it's like I'll watch it because it's goofy, but it's okay. It's just fine. It's your typical kind of, it's like weirdly horny shonen, I guess.
Sounds utterly uninteresting.
I honestly watched it and I was like, at first I was like, Kyle might like this show, and then I was like, maybe Kyle won't like this show. And then and like literally that's what I thought the whole time I was watching it. And I was like, and then I think at this point it's pretty obvious I don't care about any kind of show that really features animals or animal-like things in them at all. Like I'm just genuinely uninterested in general.
I think there are a couple of jokes that have to do with the animal characteristics that I enjoy. Like, for instance, Sloth Girl is fantastic. I love her. She literally has moss growing on her, and anytime that she moves in the show, they do it in 8 times speed, so that it seems relatively normal. Like, it's literally the VHS like fast forward 8 times kind of thing. And then they have a couple of jokes that are kind of funny, like the class prez is a naked mole rat, and so she's very uncomfortable whenever she has to wear clothes. She's so like the joke is she feels naked when she's wearing clothes. She doesn't feel naked when she isn't wearing clothes. And so, like, it just becomes weird whenever she's walking around the halls and, like, is very timid. And everyone's like, oh, hey, class rep, what's up? And she's like, please don't look at me.
That's interesting.
It's, like...
I mean, I understand the joke, but that's, like, that sort of defeats the joke for me. So...
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. I think we'll leave it at that. It is just fine. We'll move on.
Yeah. Also on the animal territory, real quick, what is it called? Oh, it's literally called Oda Cinnamon Nobunaga.
Why did you watch that?
I wanted to get dogs.
What?
I love dogs.
Okay, it is a universal rule that any anime that is adapting Oda Nobunaga in some way as a central figure is gonna be dog shit.
Well, this one's just literally dogs, so...
Yeah, I know.
And
so
shit.
It's gonna be dog, it's gonna be shit, it's gonna be dog shit. You show me one fucking anime that is about Oda Nobunaga that isn't trash. I'm waiting.
It's gonna be a hard one.
Don't have any examples for you.
Correct. Go on, Kyle.
Real quick, it's just, all of the ancient warlords get reincarnated as dogs, and it's like, isn't it funny? Because it's these, like, classic people that, like, led hundreds and thousands into battle, and now they're dogs, and so they're, like, chase their tail. It's more funny, I think, if you know the history of Nobunaga, because as somebody who doesn't, none of the jokes land.
Maybe that's the problem with Nobunaga shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of just left all the downers for the end, so that kind of sucks.
Oh no!
Not necessarily.
I have a non-downer.
Yeah.
I watched the case files of Jeweler Richard.
Oh.
I also think I'm the only one here that watched that.
Yeah, I was also interested in this one, but...
Oh, the
Holy
jewelry
shit,
dude.
Y'all are sleeping on a hit from this season.
Yeah.
This show is cool as shit. Can I just tell you all that on the surface, it does look like just, let's appraise some jewelry. But it's actually like a fucking mystery show, essentially.
Yeah, I didn't know how to place it in my mind, which is why I passed on it. But it did seem interesting, at least, like the mystery aspect.
It's so cool and so interesting. It's so neat watching, he's British or something, our British jeweler Richard and his assistant police officer Goto from Samurai Flamenco but younger. It's
all right, I'm for it.
Really interesting to watch their dynamics as a group, because Richard's very straight-laced, very prim and proper, and hilariously enough, his partner's name is Seiji, which translates more or less to like hero of justice, which again makes the fact that he looks like Goto from Samurai Flamenco that much fucking funnier to me.
It's hilarious.
That's good.
But it's cool. It's like you get to learn stuff about jewels and gems and shit, but also the folks that bring these jewels in to have them valuated, as it's called, you learn a lot of the history behind, like, okay, well, why are you looking to get this thing appraised? Why are you looking to potentially sell it? Like, what is the history behind this thing? What happened in your life to get you to this point?
See,
and it's so fucking cool.
You know what that reminds me of, weirdly? Is like how Death Parade did its mysteries, where like these characters come in, and then through the exploration of like them playing the game and Death Parade, and then them evaluating this jewelry and like, why do you want to sell it, you learn about the character.
Kind of on a conceptual level, I can see that. Yeah. I'm serious. Like, I know that for a lot of people on the surface, this would look like a snooze fest, and let me be frank, it is a slow burn of a show. It takes a little while to get where it's going, but goddamn, y'all, it is very worth getting on that ride.
I'm
at least give it the first episode. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I'm
so fucking good.
I'm very sad now. I guess I probably need to watch this. You're just making me add shows to my list. I hate you.
Well, you've done the same to me, so...
I guess that's true. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's must-watch then. Okay.
Yep.
I'll pencil it in somewhere.
Literally the only other show I've watched this season has been the director's cut of ReZero, and I mean, it's ReZero, but 2 episodes in one, so I'm just happy to get to rewatch it, leading up to season 2 in the spring.
That's right, that is airing in the spring.
Yep, that's the whole reason I'm watching the director's cut.
Oh, yeah.
Because once the director's cut ends, it's going to go right into season 2.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the director's cut apparently is near the second half, or like the end of its broadcast. It's supposed to have some additional content and scenes to kind of bridge the gap between the first and second seasons. So, if you're interested in second season and you've been looking for an excuse to rewatch ReZero, do it. Do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I forgot. I didn't realize it was airing next season. Okay, I have to get on that.
It is next season. Also, Yahari is next season.
Oh, shit.
Also, Kaguya-sama is next season.
What was that last one?
Kaguya-sama is getting a second season.
Okay, alright.
Spring season's gonna kill us.
Alright, we're gonna die. Alright, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Do any of y'all have stuff like from now that's not going to kill us?
Yeah.
I mean, Bang Dream is Bang Dream. That's it. It's the same show.
If you liked what you saw, you're gonna like it as much.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I'm here
That's
for it.
my pitch. But, I mean, that's pretty much all I got, so.
Real quick, I got a couple of shorts, OVA, ONAs that I got started on. Breakers.
Yeah, sure. Oh, good shit, dude.
Yeah, Breakers has a very weird setup where it's just some weird kooky scientist dude that just like comes in and is just like, hey, you should try out this and this sport and this sport, and he's kind of weird and uncomfortable, but everything else about the show's great. Like at least weird scientist dude is just like always there supporting these people with various disabilities and being like, well, why don't you try this sport? And trying just different ones. The main, like the first 2 episodes start with Kai, who wants to play basketball like his brother, but he lost his legs, and so it's harder for him. And then he's like, well, why don't you try wheelchair basketball? And he like introduces him to the sport, and then he turns out he really loves it. And it's also very heartwarming because like his brother is even like, hell yeah, dude, I'm gonna fucking support you all the way on this. And it's like, oh, that's real nice.
Dude, that's sick. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, and so each character has their own disability, and each character finds their own unique outlet for playing sports. And it's just really nice. Super short too. Yeah, like 10 minutes per episode. Not bad at all.
Hell yeah, dude.
I also got started on Natsunagu, but I can't say much about it because I've only seen 2 episodes, and it just hasn't really gotten into the meat of it just yet.
Isn't that like the short series where like some girl's trying to reconnect with friends from a while ago?
Yeah, it's these two people who like played a game together, and then the servers are going to be closing, and so she loses contact with her, and she wonders what happened to her, and so the only thing that she knows is what city she was in and her full name, and so she's like, well, I guess I can like go and just try to find out like what's up with her and reconnect. But it also has this underlying tone of like exploring these places that were directly affected by the 2016 earthquakes, and like seeing the people and I guess the restructuring from that. So that's all I know about it though, because like the first 2 episodes are very short. They're 4 minutes each, and they don't really get into the meat of it just yet. So, like, literally, the second episode was just her finally meeting somebody and being like, "Hey, can you take me to like public records in the town hall?" Like, that's it. And it's like, okay, they're too short. So I guess I'm gonna wait until they're all out and then watch the whole thing.
Gotcha.
That would make a little more sense, I think.
Yeah.
I was about to say that sounded like it happened to me in a past life, but yeah.
Last thing is, I'm not caught up to where it currently is, but I did get started, oddly enough, on something that's a leftover for this season, which is Welcome to Demon School, Aruma-kun.
Mm-hmm.
The Demon
I like the setup.
I'm trying to think of what that is. Hold on.
It's a shonen where the main character, his parents are pieces of shit. They don't even work. They send their son to go work for them. And then finally, they're sick and tired of it, so they literally sell his soul to a demon. And then it turns out that the demon is actually just this really nice grandpa dude who just always wanted a grandson and never had one. And so he like gets him set up in the demon world and like gets him enrolled in a school and is like, here, I'll take care of you. It's okay. You know, I'm here for you, honey. And then like our main character, his whole thing is just desperately trying to make sure nobody knows he's a human because they eat them. And his grandfather is just like trying to set him up to be a successful demon.
Oh, you know what? I think I may have actually seen bits of this episode.
The interesting thing for me is that like I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, that's fine.
The interesting thing for me is that that's the plot, but it's also important to know that our main character is just a really nice guy in a world in which like the strongest wins. And so like his whole thing is he's just kind of changing things up because he's like, I'm a pacifist. You guys want to be friends? And everyone's like, I don't quite know what that is. So it seems like a goofy fun time, but I've only seen like one episode.
Sounds like it could be wholesome. So
it seems like it could be very wholesome, and that's kind of what I wanted out of it. So
yeah, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, I guess I'll have to pick that up again because I watched about half the first episode and then I just realized I didn't have time for this and just stopped. So.
Yeah, all right, okay, that's going on my to watch list.
Oh yeah.
Also, really wanted to watch Doro Hedoro, but Netflix took it.
Netflix jail. So, yay.
Yeah.
Apparently, the manga is like as soon as it was announced that this shit was coming out, my Twitter feed went fucking crazy with like snippets and examples from the manga, and I'm like, okay, apparently I need to watch this when it does come out because it's like really well loved. So excited for that. Whenever.
See you in 9 months.
Yeah.
Yep. See you whenever.
Do you have anything else? Is that it?
There's a Shirobako movie coming out and a Made in Abyss movie coming out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Did you watch them yet?
Zach, have you watched Shirobako, Zach?
We got halfway through with
we
him,
did get like halfway.
We did not get halfway.
Yeah,
through.
we did.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
I think we did.
I do not. I don't remember anything except like the fucking initial D drag racing, and
that's in episode 1.
I remember something about
dun.
And I remember something about them like locking up the director until he finished something.
That's definitely like episode like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's. I want to rewatch it. I want to actually watch the thing because clearly, like, I have remembered nothing from it.
We'll rewatch it because the movie's coming out in February. So.
Yeah, in Japan.
Yeah,
okay, but maybe
when we
get
subtitles. It is a mystery.
I'm not watching the camera for the Shirobako movie. Okay, all right. If that's all we got, I think
that's all I got.
We'll call it here.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff. So,
Jesus Christ! Thanks, winter season. You fucking killed us again.
Stop doing this. Stop doing this winter season.
No,
stop doing this great thing that you're doing. How dare you?
Ugh. All right. Well, I think we should get out while the getting's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, thanks for stopping in, y'all. If you didn't find something that you're remotely interested in this podcast, why? What's wrong with you?
Try harder.
What are you doing? Try harder. The Backloggers. Try harder.
Get good, scrub. I didn't know that
See
we
you
were just
next
going to be
time.
like insulting the people that watched listen to this.
All right, it'll be fine. All right.
Yeah, after 4 years, we'll finally get a sign off, and it's just berating the listeners.
You pieces of shit. All right, see you later.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. As always, you can find all our podcast, articles, videos, etc. at thebacklogers.com. Our intro-outro song is The Bear by Shell in the Pit. You can find on Spotify as well as Bandcamp. And we'd love to hear from you all either in the comments on our site or any feedback you want to leave us on whatever podcast platform you like. iTunes, SoundCloud, or accidentally catch us selling our souls to a ghost in the bathroom so Jeffrey will finally look at us. And as always, we're on Twitter at @the_backloggers, so pull up a Seton log and stop by for a bit. Thanks again,